Welcome to Dogsthorpe Infant School Launchpad.
This is your captain speaking. We've been cleared for departure.
Okay, Eddie, start the countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
Yes, welcome back to Eddie's Launchpads. It's the Dogsthorpe Infant School podcast for parents, teachers and schools. Thank you for joining us today, wherever you're listening, whether it's around Cambridgeshire or across the city of Peterborough or maybe further afield, out in Europe and the world. Wherever you're listening, welcome. Thank you for choosing our podcast. Now, as always, we have an eclectic mix of guests on the show. Sometimes we have authors, sometimes we have teachers, sometimes we have people selling particular things that can be used in the classroom, and sometimes we have ex-pupils on the show to tell us about what they remember about being at the school. We've had people who can remember it way back in the 1970s, for example. And of course, we've had some famous people come through our doors, not least Andy Bell, the lead singer with Erasure. So, and he often talks with great affection about the Dogsthorpe schools and what an impression they made on him. And we've got a guest for you today who was an ex-pupil not that long ago, really, not in years terms. It's a joy and a delight to welcome Dom Paling to the show. Welcome to the show, Dom.
Thank you for having me.
There's a big connection with the school. There are two members of your family that work at the school, which is great.
Yeah.
But you was a pupil. When was you a pupil at the school?
I left about 10 years ago. So
Right.
I would have been in year 2 in 2015.
2015,
years ago.
yeah, okay. So you can remember me doing all my actions in the assemblies.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Happy days. When it comes to your memories of Dogsthorpe Infant School in particular, what sort of things lay easy on your mind about your time at the school?
I mean, I think the obvious one is the motto, dream, believe and shine. I think that's still there today, and even my mum works there, so even I catch her saying it sometimes.
That's nice.
And I also, the assemblies were big. I remember that, and at Christmas time, the nativities.
Yeah. What about in the classrooms and things? I mean, with friends and anything like that?
I remember I was trying to think about this, but it's quite a while ago. And I just remember I had quite a few friends. Some of them I don't really talk to them anymore, but some of them I still am in sort of contact with. But I just remember it being really close, and everybody was friends with everybody. The teachers were really good. And some of the teachers are still there from when I was there.
Yeah.
And then Mrs. Waters, the head teacher, she's still there.
Yeah. We're all still here. I guess around about that time, you had to get used to stop calling her Miss Spooner, because I think that we got married in 2014. So you then said you probably started at Dogsthorpe Infants with Miss Spooner, and you finished with Mrs. Waters, who's the same person. But it's a delight. It truly is a delight to hear that dream, believe and shine means a lot to you. I know there are a lot of young people, young adults out there who say the same thing as you, Dom, and we wanted you all to go away with a dream, and it didn't matter what that dream may be, whether you wanted to be a heart surgeon or a hairdresser or whatever. It didn't matter. The most important thing is that you had a dream and you wanted to work towards it. So you left in 2015, and obviously you had to do all the rest of your schooling. Yeah. But as you went through your schooling, did the dream start to develop as to what you wanted to do with the rest of your life?
Yeah, it was about towards the end of year 10, so a year and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to get into journalism and sports journalism particularly. And then I started writing for my school for their weekly newsletter. I'd go to the fixtures, and then I'd produce a report of what happened, and then that would go out to all the parents and carers. And then that's when I started really, I was like, yeah, I actually do like this and I want to get into this more. And then I started to try and network. And then I got, I saw a volunteer opportunity with the Peterborough and District Football League. And I started volunteering for them, helping out with their cup finals, running the social media side of things. And putting out live updates on those cup final games. And then while doing that, I managed to get some work for Yaxley Football Club. I'm still there. I've been there since March. I'm the photographer there, so I'll go to the games, photograph everything, come home, edit it. I make the graphics for the social media using the photos I do, and then I put everything out on social media. I run all the social media, X, Facebook, and Instagram, and then I tried to go to as many games as possible. And in those games, I also put live updates on. But now I'm starting to move towards the broadcasting side, and I want to hopefully get with BBC Radio Cambridgeshire and PCR FM, both on the sports desk, ideally with either Peterborough Sports or Peterborough United.
I guess football is your greatest love, but it sounds like you're open to all sorts of sports.
Yeah, I mean, obviously football is ideal, but I mean, I don't mind other sports. Like, when I watch Wimbledon a lot, when that's on every year, I don't mind tennis, cricket, Formula One. I mean, I just like sport in general, but if I could pick one that I would want to make a career out of, it would be football.
And it's the picking's right. You know, I think it's an interesting time in broadcasting at the moment. Everything's changing. The old days of a grandstand and everybody sitting and watching the TV and watching the sport, that's all disappearing fast. And the media, whether that's television or radio, are having to look at how they do their broadcasting. So you're joining at a very important time, and perhaps, you know, if you want to get into sports journalism getting around to the big stadiums, it's getting in front of the right people at the right time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's big because now local radio stations they're not as big as they used to be.
No,
not many people listen to them because they can get all their information on social media, and I think that's key. But I think if you speak to a lot of journalists nowadays, they will say they started off at a local radio station and that's how they worked their way up. But I think I would like to do that and try and work my way up, but times are changing, and I'm just trying to network as best as possible.
I think that's the key. If you can network, I think that is probably the best way forward, and just being there and being right and getting the right time. But of course, in order to be in the right place at the right time means you have to get around a lot of different places and be seen. And it's good that you're involved in social media, because I think that to us at the school has been a real big learning curve for us. And with this podcast and with our YouTube videos, when I look at the demographics and the different people who look at it, I thought when we first started it would just be Dogsthorpe parents, and particularly Dogsthorpe parents and carers of people in Dogsthorpe, who come to our school. But it's all sorts of people, and I think they use the hashtags, and then they get listening to us, and then they get used to our voice, or they get used to, and it's perhaps one way forward for you might be to think, I look at YouTube and TikTok and places like that, and you see the amount of views that people get on a Saturday when by taking their phone to a match. And you look and they've got so many followers because they're doing a match report actually there, you know, and you think, that used to be everybody had their radio. They would stand in it. When I used to go, in the old days, I used to go to see Arsenal at Highbury, the old Highbury, and I used to have a transistor radio listening to the opponents, how they're getting on, because there was no way. Whereas now, of course, we've got the internet and it's all very direct and live. So it's thinking out the box for you now, isn't it, about how you're going to move forward. And hopefully, Radio Cambridgeshire, come on, you're often listening to our podcast. I know we've got some of the presenters who listen. Have a word with Dom, get back in touch with him and see whether we can get him on the airwaves, because here's a guy who's got a dream, and help him build it. Dom, what about the future? I mean, obviously, you've said about what you want to achieve and get with sports, but and I'm guessing that you're also looking for full-time employment.
But well, I'm nearly 17, so and I'm doing my A-levels at the moment.
Oh, so you've got plenty at the moment then to deal with.
Yeah, and after that, I need to start thinking about whether I want employment, apprenticeships, or university. And with journalism, the most important thing is experience. And I think if you said 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I would have gone to university. But now, apprenticeships are becoming so important, especially to gain experience in the industry I want to go into. I think that would be probably the best, to get an apprenticeship, and ideally a degree apprenticeship where I can still get a uni degree, but also get hands-on work experience. And I know the BBC do those. So hopefully I get good A-levels, and then I can push on to do that. But at the moment, I'm not looking for employment because I want to focus on my A-levels, and then I can look to that after, in 2 years' time.
Well, my friend, I hope things go from strength to strength. I really, really do. I'm so glad that things are starting to shape up for you, and long may that continue. Listeners, if you're listening to this, I'm not going to give Dom's email address out because he's a young person, but if you're one of a radio station or a football club and you're looking for someone to help you with the commentating or whatever, here's somebody who's looking for some experience. He's a young guy. He's got a lot on at the moment, but he wants to get into sports journalism. So get in touch with us. You've got the contact details on our website. Get in touch with us and we'll be the gatekeeper, if that's all right, because we'll make sure that Dom keeps safe, because that's very important. And we'll make sure that any messages that we think that we can check out and make sure are true and everything's all right, we'll pass on to Dom. And then hopefully we can move forward with some more things, because here is a guy who's got a great dream. Let's help him build it. Let's all work together and make this guy into something that, who knows, maybe one day we'll be watching on a Saturday a football score programme, whether it's BBC or ITV or Sky Sports, and somebody says, and now it's over to Dom, who's at the Emirates Stadium, and you think, I've heard that guy before. Dom, a very best of luck to you in the future. Do keep in touch with us, and if we can help you in any way, we're here for you. We're always here for you. And I know that you know your mum and your sister will keep flying the flag for the school, but you too, mate, because you've got that dream. You're shining brightly. Keep it going. and we'll do all we can to help give you an even greater position in that sky to shine even brighter. All right, mate? Thanks for joining us today.
Sadly, our Christmas episode has come to an end. Eddie, the Dogsthorpe Infant School well-being dog, wishes you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
His name is Eddie Edster, he's a well-being dog, and he's here at Dogsthorpe School. He's such a little cutie, wagging his tail, and the kids all think he's cool. He makes them feel safe, he's great for mental health. He gives them confidence from his very self. Not talking about money, but he brings so much wealth. He's Eddie Edster, the well-being dog. His name is Eddie Edster, he's the well-being dog, and he loves Christmas time. Lazing round the home, chewing on a bone, Eddie thinks it's fine. The children will be looking out for Santa Claus, but also giving high fives to Eddie's paws. Let's all thank Eddie with great applause. It's Eddie Edster, the well-being dog. It's Eddie Edster, the well-being dog. It's Eddie Edster, the well-being dog.
Dogsthorpe Infant School is part of Hampton Academies Trust.